Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Yossi Schmidt Show, where we hold everyone accountable. Today, we have the great Ed the Trucker on the show. Ed, can you please introduce yourself?
Well, hello everybody, and how you doing, Yossi? My name is Edward Durr. I'm a former state senator, and more commonly, most people know me as Ed the Trucker. I ran for the Senate in 2021, and I defeated the Senate President Steve Sweeney on a very low budget. I was outspent 250 to 1. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I have 3 kids. I have 5 grandchildren. I'm married. I live in New Jersey. I have lived here all my life. I actually live right next door to my mom. I have a house right next door to her. Uh, I've been a South Jersey boy all my life. I started in Camden County and I migrated to Salem County, lived there for 30 years, and now I'm back in Gloucester County.
So, what got you into politics?
Well, the short of it is I got involved in politics for the Second Amendment. When I moved back here to Gloucester County after I got remarried, my wife and we moved next door to my parents, and I wanted to have my concealed carry as a truck driver. I felt, I wanted to have that extra security because crime had seemed to be on the rise, and I wanted to have that extra security of carrying. And I was basically told in those short terms that I would never get one. And that kind of angered me, given the fact that I've never broken the law. I've been fingerprinted because I've been on every military base up and down the East Coast as a truck driver. I've been to the Pentagon, the CIA, Langley, Pentagon, everything. I've been in facilities and been fingerprinted and checked and background checked repeatedly. And I'm a upstanding citizen. So I felt this was wrong, and that kind of angered me and got me involved. Now, that being said, it's not what drives me now. I'm still a strong Second Amendment advocate, but I also care about the state and other issues.
So, what issues are what drive you now?
Well, one of the leading issues that I was focused on while I was in the Senate was I was a strong advocate for the special needs community. My chief of staff heard she had a child who was special needs. I have a good friend. See, this was something that came new to me because I wasn't involved in special needs when I was growing up. That didn't really know anybody, didn't have any family friends who had any special needs individuals, so it kind of wasn't on my radar. Having a chief of staff who had a daughter who was special needs, and then having becoming acquainted with a friend who had 2 special needs kids, it became a very strong motivator for me to get involved in it. New Jersey has some of the best special needs programs. One of the lacking things in New Jersey is the accessibility and the informational guidelines. And I think that's where we really dropped the ball. We don't provide well. It kind of has to be where families have to go out and search and find things. And I don't believe that should be the way it is. If we have the ability to help families with their kids, we should do all we can to make it available and make it easy. It shouldn't be a jumping through hoops to a long process. But that's one of the areas where I've kind of migrated, and I have other areas. And one of the things I believe is affordability. I think affordability is probably paramount to be the most important issue of the day in New Jersey. Above everything else, people can say, well, what about this education? Or what about this with, safety or crime? Nothing matters if you cannot provide and have a home. If you cannot afford to pay your rent, if you can't pay your electric bill, if you can't pay your gas bill, if you can't pay your car insurance, if you can't pay your food bill, nothing else matters because you can't live. You have to be able to afford to live. So that has to be the most important factor.
So, what is your solution to make things more affordable?
Well, glad you asked me that. One of the major problems with New Jersey is high taxes. We have an outrageous tax rate. We not only tax the individuals, but we tax businesses. And what happens when we tax business? We chase business away. One of our biggest problems is we continue to tax. We are the highest tax businesses are in our area. Every state around our region is lower than us. I think the lowest is like 5.5, and I think that might be Pennsylvania. I would like to bring our corporate tax down in line with the surrounding states so we can basically win businesses back to New Jersey because I believe in the basic economics. You have more businesses here, that brings more jobs. More jobs bring more revenue. More revenue divided among the people makes it a smaller piece of pie you have to pay for. It's simple basic economics. But one of my platform agenda goals is to get rid of the sales tax. I would like to phase it out. And people say, well, how can you do that? Where are we going to make up the difference, the loss? Well, the sales tax makes up about 25% of our budget, what we bring in. But our budget has increased over 30%. I would like to get our budget back down to reality. Our life has not gotten better in the last 7 years under Governor Murphy with the increased $21 billion. So I'd like to see that, phased out. Whatever cost he added in there over the last 7 years, let's work that out. Let's get back to a more, you know, economically based budget that we can afford to handle, and we'll be able to cut taxes. And and sales tax being very important, you got to remember, as a everyday citizen, you pay sales tax all the time. That is something you face every day of your life. The millionaire is not going to feel that sales tax. They don't care what the sales tax is because they don't care. They have $1 million in their bank. And the people who are living on welfare don't care because that's government money. It's the you and I who work every day and go and have a check from week to week. We know the pinch of money. We know how it's every little penny adds up. If I can save $2 this week and add $5, it adds up. It adds up over the course of a month. It adds up over the course of a year. And over the course of a lifetime, it adds up. So this is where I want to see us move. That, along with multiple other things, we have to cut it. People ask me about the New Jersey Doge because President Trump came up with Doge for the federal government, the Department of Government Efficiency. Well, I stole President Trump's idea when I was in the Senate for cutting regulations. He had a 2-to-1 for every one regulation. Let's get rid of two. So I did that in the Senate. So I figured, why not do the same thing if I'm a governor? I'll steal his Doge program and bring a New Jersey Doge, and we'll get rid of the waste, corruption, and fraud that is weighing down a lot of this cost in New Jersey.
Love it. Trying to think.
Sorry, I went on long there for a
No,
bit.
I know, but I liked what you said about Doge. I love the concept of Doge. We need to cut waste. We need to cut the money that we spend. We need to put our tax payer dollars to the right uses instead of the wrong uses, like you're saying. And we need. One thing I remember from Christie is the gas tax.
I would like to bring that back down to reality. Get rid of because the original plan of the gas tax was that we were going to implement the gas tax and it was going to bring down the sales tax. Well, the sales tax went back up, lo and behold, the following year when Governor Murphy came to office. And the gas tax was supposed to be subjugated to just the transportation funding, but it ended up getting dropped into the general funding so they could go and spend all the money on all the Christmas tree items they want to do. Well, that's the first problem that needs to be corrected. Our gas tax needs to be designated just for the transportation and road, infrastructure. It cannot be used for general funding and paying the pension plans of the teachers. It's just one of these things that we have to continue to address. There was bad government for years on both sides of the aisle. We're going to have to bite the bullet and understand that things are going to have to be addressed.
Makes sense. We need to get New Jersey back on track. And I
Absolutely.
actually feel after Murphy was anything but merciless. But
He was a hypocrite too. He's a big hypocrite.
something about that smile. Okay, I don't want to get on people's looks, but something about that smile. That's all I'm gonna say. uh,
You'd think for a millionaire he'd fix them teeth
I know he's worth a couple. He's worth a couple million,
and do
probably.
and do a better job with that rug on his head. Me, I'm not even gonna bother. I've given up. I'm losing my hair, so I'd say hell with it.
I actually need to get it here. Anyways, another thing that he did was the plastic bag ban. Oh, don't get
Well,
me
that
started.
was one of the things when I was in the Senate. I had sponsored a bill to repeal the bag ban. I think that's a foolish ban. There's no sound basis behind it. And somebody actually asked me, I think it was a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago, I was at a committee meeting. I think it was over in Camden County, Stratford, or something like that. And a gentleman said, "Well, what are you going to do about the rising cost of, electricity in this state?" Well, Governor Murphy's made that come up because what generally happens when you have less of something? It becomes more costly. If you only have one, why is gold so expensive? Because there's so little of it. While, I see no more value in it than steel, but steel is in abundance. So gold is at a premium where steel's not. Well, think of it in the same terms of electricity. If we have very little producing electricity, the supply and demand issue, it's going to cost more because less people are making it for us. If we bring back the development of energy producing plants, gas power, nuclear, and even coal, there's clean coal that you can burn that wouldn't be harmful to the environment, and you had more electricity in the state, they would be looking to give it away so their costs would be cheaper to the homeowner instead of charging us more because they're paying more to get it made.
Makes sense.
Simple. Again, I go back to basic economics, simple concepts. It's not any rocket science here. We're just basic stuff. Supply and demand. If you have more of a product, it tends to be cheaper. If you have less of a product, it tends to cost more. Well, that's exactly what is going on with our electricity. We have less.
Makes sense. Makes complete sense. Everyone likes to conflate numbers, but break it down to simple economics. And what you're saying makes, like I like to say on X to everybody that I agree with, on point.
Thank
Just
you.
right on the point. Not to the left, just right on point.
And that's the thing. Everybody tries to paint me in this corner of I'm this extremist one way or another. I don't think I'm extreme in any regards. I'm a conservative. I believe in conservatives policies. I am very, frugal when it comes to finances. I think spend the least amount of money. It doesn't matter how much you have. You don't want to waste money and just throw it away. So I'm always about efficiency and getting the best bang for your buck. But as far as extreme, because I believe that parents should have a voice in their children's education, because I believe that only girls should compete against other girls in sports, or that only girls should be in girls' locker rooms. That's not extreme. It's kind of a no nonsense approach about things, just doing things the right way.
I have to say, it's a little insane. You're not insane. It's a little insane that President Trump had to make an executive order that there's two genders.
It's
No,
it's
there are two genders, male and female.
it's always funny when they go and argue about gender affirming care, but they always give you the option of A or B. If there's multiple genders, why aren't they given A, B, C, D, E, F, G kind of thing? They're only giving you male or female gender affirming care. Even they admit that there's only two genders.
Th- We have come, I always tell everyone, we have come to really. the worst of the worst. I can't picture worse than this.
It's the insanity of this world. It's baffling.
I like to say that we are killing our children,
Yeah,
and give it 5 years, children will be putting their parents over their laps, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Not,
yeah.
and I don't even think this is hyperbole. I literally believe this.
It's crazy, and and one of the aspects is we do try to force our children to grow up too fast. I think we've put too much responsibility. Kids cannot be kids anymore. We've put more of a burden on them. They have to. I mean, you look at what the governor is doing right now in our schools, where he's forcing an indoctrination of sex education, having these inappropriate books. Why is a child of 8, 9, 10, 11 years old being taught this graphic, pornographic kind of material of sex education? We're not talking about biology, boys and girls, X, Y, and XX chromosomes. We're talking actual graphic performance sex, you know, and this does not to be, first off, this is for a parent to decide when is a suitable time for that to happen. It's not for this school to decide that. Their primary function is the education of English, reading, writing, arithmetic, the history, basic science, not this woke agenda. And it just we're trying to turn our kids into adults sooner. And I don't want to come off as a conspiracy here, but it worries me. What is their end game? I mean, you have them taking away they say the age of consent now for kids, because I actually spoke in a committee hearing against this where they removed the age of consent from, I didn't know it went from 18 to 16, and then they removed it from 16 down to 14. They actually wanted it 13 that day, but they moved it down to 14 for having any procedures done on a child without parental consent. And this is outrageous. And why are they keep pushing this age of consent so low? They want kids who are 16 to vote in school board elections. No, we have already proven that children are not fully developed mentally or physically until around 18 to 21.
First of all, this really exposes them as pedophiles. I'm sorry to put it bluntly, but this exposes them as pedophiles. But what bothers me is when we try to say that we want to ban these pornographic, graphic teaching books, they say it's free speech. You know what free speech is? Freedom to talk, freedom to say what we want, not freedom for you to indoctrinate my kid.
Well, and that's it. And I don't even use the term ban because that's what they're saying. They're saying we're banning
I'm just saying
books.
what they're saying.
Right. They're saying we're banning books. I've always argued back to them saying this is not a ban of books. I'm not telling you you cannot have these books made and you cannot, sell them to somebody. What I'm saying is you cannot provide them to a minor. I'm restricting the book. No different than I'm restricting alcohol or firearms or cigarettes or driving or voting. It's a restriction of a minor. We do that in our society. Everything is restricted to minors at some point in regards. This was no different. We are restricting inappropriate material for minors. We're not banning it. We're not saying it cannot be made or cannot be sold. We're saying it cannot be provided to a minor, just like the rest of the stuff.
Makes complete sense. Um, I just don't like when they try using the free speech thing because I don't know if you checked me out before coming on the show. One of the things I built the digital free press on used to be team mode supporter, but we'll get into that another time. Is fighting for free speech. The left has been attacking free speech for ages.
Yeah.
People think it's from when Trump was running. I hate to break it to you, little boy. It's not. I mean, I'm 27. I'm not so old, but at the same time, let's be honest. The left has always been attacking free speech because they don't want to be exposed for what they are.
Yeah, exactly. You're right on with that. Is they're hypocrites. It comes down to the hypocrisy of the left is they say one thing, but they totally do the opposite of what they're saying, and they actually it's gaslighting. That's what it is.
I actually heard from Dan Bongino, and ever since then it made
Love
complete
Dan,
sense to
love
me.
Dan.
He says that's not a hypocrisy, it's hierarchy.
Yeah, yeah. I could see the point in that. Yeah.
They're better than us. They don't care about
Well, it goes back to that rules for thee, not for me attitude.
on point.
Yeah.
This is it's an actual war we're fighting.
Oh, 100%. It's not the, prototypical, physical type war, but it is a war of ideologies and what is best for our nation, for our children, for our future. And we have to win this battle.
100%. So here's the thing though. I am fighting for free speech. I'm fighting to say I'm also a little bit of a journalist, news aggregating, whatever. But I want people to learn how to think for themselves. It's a little strange. In this day and age, people don't know how to think for themselves.
No, I don't want to label and say the people are just being cheap. I would say that they're running on autopilot, basically accepting what they're hurt, what they hear, or what they're told, accepting the things for to be true, and they're trusting, not so maybe not naive, but just trusting of, all right, in the end, it's going to work out. So I'll let so and so do what they're going to do. I'm not going to challenge and not going to question it. It must be right because they are who they are and whatever. And we need one of the things that I think did come out of COVID was the awakening of this movement. I think that we saw what was going on in the schools. We saw how our government abused our rights, how they went after us and they, took our freedoms away from us. So I think we've kind of turned things around and we're fighting back stronger than ever. And I believe that we're on the right track. And I'm very thankful that Monday took place and we have an actual an adult who knows how to handle things and will get things done right.
The adults are back in the room.
Yes, yes, exactly.
I like when people learn how to think for themselves. I'm a very big proponent. Yes, I know what I'm talking about in the news, and yes, I post a news roundup. I post on my WhatsApp status. I give my opinion, but I'm a very strong thing where you have to make your own decision when it comes to electing your officials. I don't do endorsements. I don't like endorsements. I don't like celebrity endorsements where Taylor Swift gets to say vote for Biden and no. People need to learn how to look into it. I have no problem having you on my show, having Spady on my show, having Chitterelli, but I'm gonna say it's quite obvious where I stand, but I'm not gonna say it out loud.
Well, and I'm not one who worries about big name endorsements. I don't go out there chasing the endorsements. So like my opponents right now, they're out there chasing people's endorsements. You know who the endorsement I want to get? You, the people. We, the people who are going to vote for me. I want their endorsement that they believe in me and that they want to support me and they want to help me win. That's the endorsements I want. I want the voters' endorsement.
That's all that counts.
That's all that counts to me because
Election day is when it makes a difference.
because ultimately they will be my employer because this is a job interview. I am interviewing for a job and
I
you guys
love
will
that
be my
outlook.
employer.
I love that outlook. I always tell the politicians, you were in every podcast I do. I interviewed Congressman Tim Burchett last. I said, politicians work for us. Like you just
Absolutely.
said. I love that.
Absolutely. We are the civil servants. It's called civil servant. We serve you, the people. And people tend to forget it was us. We, the people, created the state government. The state government created the federal government, not the other way around. So we have to stop allowing government to rule over us. They answer to us as people, as citizens. We have given them a, an authority to act on our behalf, but when they act poorly, we have the right to correct them for that.
Hold everyone accountable, like I always say.
Absolutely.
That is the Digital Free Press's motto. I don't know if you can see it in the background. It says the Digital Free Press, hold everyone
Yeah,
accountable.
I can see it right there in this half circle, right?
Yep. Hold everyone accountable. Let's do this. Mr. Ed the Trucker Durr, I wish you nothing but good luck. And
I was just going to say for your listeners, anybody wants to help me out with my campaign, I have a book, my story, from when I ran for office. I am doing it in honor of President Trump. I'm offering a copy autographed. I will mail it to you for a donation of $47 or more to my website, edthetrucker.com. You can go there on my website. One, you can check me out. You can learn more about me, the bills I presented, my views on things. And if you want to help and support me, I'd really appreciate it because I'm a grassroots guy. I'm not the establishment. That I count on you, the people, to help me.
the link will be in the show notes, the description, wherever you're finding this podcast. Again, Mr. Durr, Mr. Ed the Trucker, keep on trucking.
Thank you very much.
You got this. And maybe when you're governor, again, this is not endorsement, but when you're governor, you'll come back on.
Oh, absolutely. You reach out. I'm more than happy to come back on. I, I, I answered you right away when you asked me, and I'll do it anytime you ask.
I'm going to say this for the audience. I didn't even really reach out directly to you. I sent out a post, and within a couple hours, you yourself contacted me.
Right. Well, I feel that as a prospective candidate, again, like I said, this is a job interview. You must make yourself available to the people, just like you would make yourself available to an employer in a job interview. You have to be available to answer the questions, to show yourself who you are and what you stand for, so that the people who are hiring you, the voters, know what they're getting.
Best of luck. We will talk. And everyone, like the Digital Free Press says, hold everyone accountable.
Thank you.
See you next time.